In Islam, the concepts of halal and haram are two important principles that govern the lives of Muslims. These are ethical and moral guidelines that determine what is permissible, halal, and what is forbidden, haram, in various aspects of life. Here is a brief description of the concept of halal and haram in Islam. In Islam, premarital sex is indeed considered haram or zina, which means it is forbidden and sinful according to Islamic teachings. Sexual relations are only permissible within the boundaries of a lawful marriage between a husband and wife. Engaging in premarital sex is viewed as a violation of the moral and ethical standards of Islam, as explained in Surah Al-Isra, verse 32. In Islam, having 4 wives simultaneously is considered permissible, and this practice is known as polygamy. The Quran, the holy book of Islam, allows Muslim men to marry multiple wives, but there are conditions and limitations associated with this practice, as explained in Surah An-Nisa, verse 3. Marrying a sibling is considered haram, forbidden, in Islam. Islam prohibits the marriage between siblings, including full siblings and half-siblings, whether they share the same mother or father. The prohibition of marrying a blood relative, such as a full sibling, is based on moral and legal grounds and aligns with the principles of family decency and ethics in Islamic teachings, as explained in Surah An-Nisa, verses 20-24. In Islam, marrying a cousin is generally considered halal, permissible, and is widely practiced in many countries and Muslim-majority communities. Cousin marriage is culturally and commonly accepted in many parts of the world, and it serves as a way to maintain family ties and strengthen social bonds within the extended family, as explained in Surah An-Nisa, verses 20-24. Marrying a non-Muslim is generally considered haram, forbidden, in Islam. Muslim women are not allowed to marry non-Muslim men. While some interpretations allow Muslim men to marry Christian or Jewish women, it is still discouraged, and if the husband allows his wife to violate Islamic law, he also sins. In practice, it is considered haram unless the non-Muslim spouse converts to Islam, as explained in Surah Al-Mumtahana, verse 10. Befriending non-Muslims is halal in Islam. Islam encourages kindness and fair treatment toward all people, regardless of their faith. Consuming pork is considered haram, meaning it is forbidden and sinful. This prohibition is based on clear directives in the Quran, as explained in Surah Al-Baqarah, verse 173. Owning a dog for specific purposes such as hunting, herding, or guarding is generally considered halal, permissible, as long as certain conditions and guidelines are followed. As explained in Hadith Bukhari No. 5480, anyone who benefits from a dog, not for the purpose of herding livestock or training it as a hunting dog, will have their daily good deeds reduced by 2 qirats. Indeed, harming or torturing animals is considered haram, forbidden, in Islam. Watching pornography is considered haram, forbidden, in Islam. Islamic teachings emphasize the importance of maintaining modesty, purity, and self-control in matters related to sexuality and personal behavior. Consuming alcohol is considered haram, forbidden, in Islam. This prohibition is based on clear and firm teachings found in the Quran, the holy book of Islam, and Hadith, as explained in Surah Al-Maidah, verse 9. Killing innocent individuals is clearly haram, forbidden, in Islam. Islamic teachings emphasize the sanctity of human life, and the unlawful taking of an innocent person's life is one of the gravest sins in the religion. In Islam, killing enemies in a permissible war or in self-defense is allowed, or can be termed as halal, within the context of warfare regulated by Sharia, Islamic law. In Islam, gambling and lotteries are considered haram, forbidden, and their practice is discouraged. Gambling involves betting on uncertain outcomes, as explained in Surah Al-Maidah, verse 9. Participating in competitions is an activity that is generally permissible or halal as long as there is no entry fee and prizes are awarded. If there is an entry fee to participate and prizes are awarded to winners, it becomes haram because it falls into the category of gambling, except for archery, horseback riding, or camel racing, which are allowed to receive prizes, as explained in some hadith. In Islam, showing respect and courtesy to others, regardless of their background, beliefs, or opinions, is highly encouraged and considered halal, permissible. Islamic teachings emphasize ethical behavior, respecting others, and fostering positive interactions. Gossip, slander, and spreading false information about others are all considered haram, forbidden, in Islam. These actions are viewed as major sins in Islamic teachings due to their harmful and potentially reputation-damaging nature, as explained in Surah Al-Hujurat, verse 12. Any form of sexual assault, harassment, or harming others is clearly haram, forbidden, and highly condemned in Islam. Islam places a strong emphasis on human dignity, respect, and the safety of all individuals, promoting the principles of consent, modesty, and ethical conduct in interpersonal relationships. Stealing other people's property or engaging in corruption is clearly haram, forbidden, in Islam. Theft is considered a major sin, and the religion highly emphasizes respect for the property rights of others. Islamic teachings uphold the principles of honesty, justice, and ethical behavior in financial and material matters, as explained in Surah Al-Ma'idah, verse 38. Giving gifts or presents to non-Muslims is not only halal, permissible, in Islam but also encouraged. Islam promotes kindness, generosity, and maintaining good relationships with people from all backgrounds, regardless of their beliefs. The act of giving gifts is one way to foster positive interactions and maintain strong and harmonious relationships with others. Prohibiting singing and musical instruments is not allowed in Islam or considered haram. As mentioned in a hadith, the Prophet Muhammad said, "There will be among my followers some people who will consider as permissible illegal sexual intercourse, the wearing of silk, the drinking of alcoholic drinks, and the use of musical instruments." Sahih al-Bukhari, Hadith No. 5590. Idolizing or worshipping celebrities, artists, and the like is considered haram, forbidden, in Islam. Islam is a monotheistic religion that emphasizes the worship of the one and only God, Allah. Worshipping anyone or anything other than God is viewed as a form of polytheism. Destroying houses of worship of other religions is haram, forbidden, in Islam. Islam promotes the principles of religious tolerance, coexistence, and respecting the places of worship of all religious communities. Making peace treaties and engaging in peace efforts is not only halal, permissible, in Islam but highly encouraged. Islam places great importance on the principles of peace, reconciliation, and conflict resolution, as explained in Surah Al-Hujurat, verse 49. Creating images of living beings, such as animals, humans, or cartoons that depict faces and making statues is haram in Islam. Some hadiths mention that those who create such images of living beings will be punished on the Day of Judgment and will be told to breathe life into what you have created. Sahih al-Bukhari and Sahih Muslim. Worshipping prophets or any human beings is strictly haram in Islam. In Islamic monotheism, the worship of God, Allah, is exclusive and central, and there is no room for associating partners or intermediaries with God in acts of worship. Borrowing or lending money with interest, commonly known as riba, is haram in Islam. Islam explicitly prohibits all forms of interest-based transactions, as they are considered exploitative and unethical, as explained in Surah Al-Baqarah, verse 275. Prohibiting men from wearing silk in Islam is based on hadith. The Prophet Muhammad forbade the wearing of silk for men, as mentioned in various hadiths. Wearing gold and silver as ornaments by men is prohibited in Islam, while it is allowed for women. As mentioned in several hadiths, the Prophet Muhammad prohibited gold rings for men. In Islam, smoking is haram because it is not good, bad, and contains many harms, dangers. Allah Ta'ala only allows His people various good things, thayyib, whether in the form of food, drink, and others, and forbids various bad things, khabiths, as explained in Al-Ma'idah verse 4. And those are some of the halal and haram guidelines that serve as principles to direct the behavior of a Muslim in creating a moral, just, and sustainable society. They help build a strong relationship with Allah and fellow human beings, providing clear guidance for living life in accordance with the principles of the Islamic faith. By understanding and practicing the concepts of halal and haram, a Muslim can lead a life that aligns with the ethical and moral values of Islam.